this is one of my favorite topics. I love win with buyers, win with sellers, because the importance and the core of what we do is we need the buyers, we need the sellers, we need the investors, right? So the curriculum, section 14, really resonates with me just because it has a lot of inside potentials in how you navigate conversations and how to win over more and more buyers to work with you. So I'm super excited about today's class. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's rock and roll. Hi, how are you?
Coming downstairs.
Awesome. Okay. At first, I thought it was just going to be me and Mimi, and then Karina, and then Brandon jumped on the call. So that's awesome. Just like always, the telemarketing warning, you must comply with the TCPA and any federal, state, or local laws, including Form B2B, calls and texts, never call or text. So basically, it's just a disclaimer that, we have to as a company. Fair housing, spam disclaimers, and all disclaimers in regards to phone, text, and all that fun stuff. Okay, so today's topic is win with buyers. Also, right after session number 15 is win with sellers. Work with buyers and sellers, make and receive and negotiate. I believe I'm doing negotiations. That is probably the best class that I personally like out of all of the Ignite curriculum is negotiations, because I have a passion in how to navigate a lot of the conversations. All right, so part of the segue here is obviously, lead with generations, lead with follow-up, and ultimately a transaction is created, right? I'm a very stickler when it comes to that. If you want to see results in your business, right, ultimately the approach is you got to lead generate, right? And what does lead generate stand for or mean? Well, it basically means go out there and work.
Yeah.
Go and make connections, right? Do the necessary hustle, right. But that's ultimately what lead gen really boils down to, right? It's the ability for you to connect with a lot of people that are ultimately influenced and motivated enough that they want to do business with you, right? I'll share my story because I think it's important, which I haven't in the past, is my humbling experience and how I got into real estate. I never wanted to be a real estate agent. That was not what I wanted to do, But the only reason I got my real estate license was because I wanted to learn contracts. I wanted to learn the ins and outs and how you can put a deal together with documentation. Well, back in the early 90s, there was a lot of infomercials, a lot of how to get rich through real estate, buying real estate, holding real estate, flipping real estate. So I would go to all of these so-called seminars, literally spend all day sometimes or a couple hours to ultimately be disappointed, right? They would excite you, right? They would have these infomercials on TV at 2, 1, or 12 in the morning saying, hey, why don't you come to our seminars? We'll show you how to be successful, buy mansions, buy this, buy that. And as a kid, and I was a kid, in the early teens, 18, 19, and 20, I was fascinated because I wanted to find the shortcut way and how to make a lot of money. But I also wanted to own real estate as well. So I would go to these seminars thinking they're going to give me that magic formula that I'm going to make a lot of money. Well, they would say at the end is if you provide us with $10,000, $15,000, we'll show you the magic sauce. Well, guess what? That magic sauce, it sounded enticing, but the essence is I didn't have $10,000 to blow on a curriculum. I didn't have $15,000 in the curriculum to blow that type of money. So I would get very discouraged, right? It's like I would see all these people and they would raise their hand. I want in. It's like, man, there's a millionaire in the making. There's another millionaire in the making, And then I started thinking later, it's like, How do I know if these people were just saying that just to excite other people like us to pay for all this money, right? Well, that's kind of how the process for me started, right? Is because they would show you formulas and techniques and avenues and how to negotiate terms, and there were like the topics about wraparound mortgages, land contracts, seller finance, no money down deals, right? Transfer of ownership, find junkers and all that, right? But the essence of all of that was, to really prepare you to be out there, which leads again back to today's topic. How do you win with buyers, right? So when I knew I didn't have the means or the financial ability to do so, I mean, I had credit cards, but that was still a lot of money for me as a young kid to just say, here's, charge my card $10,000. And remember, this was the 90s. Okay. That price is probably now $20,000, $30,000, just to take a boot camp or a training. So I would walk out of these seminars, discouraged, disappointed, and then I would see another one. I thought that's going to make me money. That one is going to, and none of them did. So back in 95 and 96 is when I said, well, you know what? What if I learn contracts? Okay. How do I learn real estate and contracts? Real estate contracts, real estate contracts. Why don't I go to real estate school? So I went the long way. Unfortunately, I was going to college at the time. So I kind of pivoted and ended up taking real estate management classes. So that's how I took my principles. That's how I took my practice. And that's how I took real estate law was through school. So I ended up spending a year and a half in school just to get the 3 certificates in order for me to qualify to take the state exam. And the whole purpose was I wanted to get my certificates, not because I wanted to do real estate, but I wanted to learn how these purchase agreements and listing agreements work that would benefit me in the long run. So got my certificates, and then ultimately took the state exam. Now back in the 90s, the state exam was done in Cerritos College. That's where the actual DRE was done. So I remember we used to use Scantrons, and they would sit us in rows, and you can literally cheat it if you wanted to. You can see your neighbor to the right, you can see the neighbor to the left, and say, okay, A, B, C, and D, right? That's how loose it was back in the early 90s. Well, I ended up passing the state exam, and now I had a license. But as I said, I did not want to go into real estate. That was not what I wanted because I had already a full-time job that took most of my time. So I said, well, I don't know what else to do here. I'm going to have to now interview real estate companies. So I started now interviewing different offices, and similar to what you all did as part of the process and part of the adventure, right? Is I'm going to go now start looking at who would be a good fit for me that would help me now learn contracts, right? And again, I still didn't want to do real estate. I didn't want to help buyers, help sellers. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. All I wanted to do was I want to learn how these dynamic contracts work and how deals are put together. That was it.
Just for you.
Yeah. Just for that purpose, right? So I started interviewing different offices, and there was one infomercial that I saw early in my career, and early on, and before I even got my real estate license, and it was a woman by the name of Marty Rodriguez. So Marty Rodriguez is a entrepreneur, real estate guru, and she does most of her business out in the San Gabriel Valley. Well, there was a Tony Robbins infomercial selling his products about mindset, right? And he interviewed Marty Rodriguez. And Marty was a straight shooter, did about $2 million in gross commission year after year after year. So the ironic part of it was, it's like, man, I want to be like her, not do real estate, but make the $2 million in gross commission. Well, obviously, I didn't know all of the pieces, right, that lead you to that, right? So I reached out and found out where she was working. She had an office in Glendora. So I reached out and I said, "Hi, my name is Simon. I want to speak with Marty Rodriguez." And then the person on the other line says, "Okay, who are you?" "Hi, my name is Simon again. I wanted to see if I can talk to Marta Rodriguez about joining her office, okay, because she owned her own real estate company." So she says, "Okay, so stand by." And she comes back on the phone and says, "Okay, she is currently busy, but can I get your contact information and she'll call you back?" Okay, so I left my contact information and that was it. "Okay, she'll call you." I said, "Wonderful, great." I never got a call back. Okay, a day passed, 2 days passed, 3 days passed, nothing. So I did my follow-up, right, which is part of the process. So I followed up. I said, "Hi, my name is Simon. I wanted to go through the process. I had reached out a couple of days back to speak with Marty Rodriguez. I left my message, but she never called me. I'm assuming that she's super, super busy." "Simon, okay, let me check and let me see if she's available." She's unfortunately unavailable right now, but I can, take your phone number again." I says, "Well, I left my phone number. Well, just to play it safe, let me have your phone number once again." I said, "Fine, no problem." So I give my information. The day goes, no call. Okay, another day goes, no call. At that point in time, I was like, well, maybe she is just too busy. Or maybe she doesn't want, to hire new agents. So I kind of put it on the side burner and just said, it is what it is. So I started interviewing other offices, in hopes that, what I saw, what they can contribute or give back is something that would be a good fit for me. So I ended up looking at an office in the city of Norwalk. And at the time, I met the owner of the company, very successful guy. And I was like ready to sign, but I was still kind of hesitant. There was something that I wanted to, and there was something that I didn't want to. And the only reason is this particular office, there was a lot of high producing agents. And every time you would drive this building, you would see high end cars there. So you would see you would see a Mercedes, BMWs, you would see a Porsche. It's like, man, what are these agents doing that all you see is just really high end vehicles? And so I was intrigued by that because remember, I was doing my research because I really wanted to find a fit that I can learn real estate contracts. Again, not that I wanted to do any type of real estate transactions. So I was like, okay, so this was the office, but something stopped me, and says, "You know what? I think I need to think about it a little bit more." And he says, "Okay, not a problem. If you want to think about it, that's fine." But, back then, real estate was a little different. It was more like the whip type of mentality. You're going to pick up the phone and you're going to start making calls. Okay. That's going to be the mentality. So they said you got to do so many calls on a daily basis. Right. So there was something about that is like, I cannot commit to do all that because I'm doing this part time. So I stopped. I didn't complete. I said, "Let me think about it and I'll give you an answer by the following day." Well, ironic, that same afternoon, I get a call from the office that I wanted to first interview, which was Marty Rodriguez. And the person says, "Hi, can I speak with Simon?" I go, "This is Simon. Hi, this is the office of Marty Rodriguez. Do you have a few minutes to chat with Marty?" I said, "Absolutely. Okay, let me place you on hold." Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Let me place you on hold. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Let me place you on hold and then I'll get Marty on the call. So within a couple seconds, Marty jumps on the call. "Hi, this is Marty Rodriguez. How can I help you?" "Hi, my name is Simon, and I'm super intrigued and wanted to see about joining your office." She goes, "Well, wonderful. Tell me a little bit about yourself." I says, "Well, I'm a newly licensed agent. I just got my license about 2 weeks ago, and I'm just kind of interviewing different offices. And I ended up seeing you, right? I ended up seeing you on an infomercial on Tony Robbins. And I was just intrigued. Yeah, Tony's a good friend of mine. She's also my coach. I says, wonderful.
We lost your volume.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, sorry about that. So, and if you see anyone jumping on Zoom, just let me know too, because I sometimes get so in the focus of the conversation. So she says, I don't hire new agents. I go, oh, okay. Well, I'm eager. I'm hungry. I promise you, I'm going to be one of your best agents. So I was trying to sell myself, right? She goes, unfortunately, I still don't. Here are some recommendations of the
I think we lost audio again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Awesome.
video's done. There you go.
Okay. All right. So I just what I ended up doing is the mic, I'm gonna have to charge it. So hopefully it'll reach my voice. And if anything, I'll come in a little closer too as well. All right. Can you hear me okay and see me?
We can't.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So where did I leave off?
The agent.
Okay.
I don't take.
Yeah, so she recommended 3 offices. And so I says, oh, ironically, I already interviewed one of those offices and I was about to sign, but there was something that I hesitated to do so. So she says, okay, when you have the experience, come back and reach out to me. So I was kind of discouraged and kind of bummed. It's like, man, I really, truly, truly wanted to be working under her leadership. And she just knocked me down. And that, I felt kind of like, oh, okay, it was meant to be, right? So I did not end up signing up with the original one that I was about to sign. And I was still going to school. And when I was going to school, one of my, because I was taking real estate management, one of my instructors brought in a couple broker owners of big companies. So on one of these events, there was an individual that came super sharp, dressed like $1 million, and just class act individual came in here and kind of just took over the class. And there was just something about this individual that I just was like, man, I think this guy is the guy that I want to get to know a little bit more, because people can motivate you, can influence you, right? Because they may resonate with you. So after the little lecture that he did, I was like leaning towards it and I introduced myself. And he says, why don't you come by my office? I'm just building a new office in the city of Whittier. And I'm looking for talent. By the way, I'm just letting you know, I'm not an experienced agent, but I want to align, not a problem. We're going to teach you. So I was, okay, I like this. So I ended up going on my day off and I said, I can't do it tomorrow, but I'll set something up for the following week. We ended up sitting down and I went to his office and I was super impressed with the office, the vibe, the synergy. And it was a new office, okay? There was hardly any agents, so he was now building the muscle of that office. He had another office in Pico Rivera, and now he was transitioning out and opening up a new location in the city of Whittier. So we met and everything just in the line with me. And he says, look, in order for you to see success of it, I started my career working at Jack in the Box. And you see that Jack in the Box that's out there on 5 Points, which is a street called 5 Points. I go, yeah. Well, that's where I started, and I knew that that was not going to be me. I wanted something bigger and better, and now I've created a big enterprise. Very wealthy man, super knowledgeable, and to this day, he's still in existence. And I'll share who that person is. So I ended up signing up, and the first thing that they do is here. So they throw a stack of paperwork on my desk, and I don't have an assigned desk. This is just a desk for cold calling. And it's like, what is this? I go, these are all the potential sellers that you need to start reaching out. I go, there's literally thousands. Yeah, start now. I go, start what? Start making calls. What do I say? Yes. Well, try to get people to want to sell their homes or buy their homes. All right. So I don't know what, no problem. So he gives me this little manual, and this manual tells me step by step of scripts and dialogue. And it was very simple dialogue. It wasn't extreme. It was just like, hi, my name is Simon, and I wanted to introduce. I'm wondering if you're thinking about selling or buying, something of that nature, right? So that was not something that I like, right? But it gave me the opportunity to start building that confidence, right? Ultimately, I started looking at other top agents that were coming in, and these were guys and gals that were just rushing it, right? And remember, I'm doing this part-time, so I'm coming in later in the afternoons or my day off and just trying to focus, and I was trying to see who were the key players, right? And then I just started introducing myself to everyone, right? And I just said, look, I want to learn what is the model and system that you use. And this is back in the early 90s that I was having these conversations, not knowing anything, right? But I was just so passionate that I wanted to learn how to navigate the contracts, right? But then after I started seeing how the big money was being made, it's like, okay, I think I can do this, right? And that's how I started just building that foundation and structure. And I started getting good. I didn't like cold calling. I didn't like door knocking, but what I did like to do was actually open houses. So that was my niche. Okay. And part of what we do in real estate is there's a lot of variables and a lot of things you can do as a niche. Find that niche and run with it, right? Because that's going to be the core of how you're going to start making some serious money. And I'm a prime example, right? Prime example that if you put the time, effort, and energy, and you devote and you dedicate, and you don't stop, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see the results, okay? And that's the cool thing about real estate is there's a lot of ways that you can lean to and make opportunities happen. You can make those opportunities, okay? The question is, how bad do you want it? Because people will buy, people will sell, people will want to invest. The question is, you got to go out there and find these people that are motivated enough to do so. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I found the niche, I started like, okay, this is what I'm okay. It works for me. I'm spending 3 to 4 hours. Buyers and sellers are coming into my open house, and I don't have to do really much. I have a flyer. I know the price. I know the amenities. And I just got to smile. Okay. I did have a mentor. God bless his soul. He had passed away. He was an older gentleman, but he was also a part-timer. He worked for the school district and did real estate on the side. But he was one of the mentors, and such an awesome guy that very practical and really easy to work with, right? Because he was not this gun-ho, boom, 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 boom. He had a tenacity and a style that just made sense to me, right? And I got the opportunity that same day that I got signed up with him. He goes, "Come on, Simon, we're going to go on a listing appointment." I go, "Oh, okay, cool." So we went on a listing appointment, and my first listing appointment that I went was in the city of Whittier. And does anyone know Carlos Mencia? He's a famous comedian, very famous. He's from somewhere from Central America, I think El Salvador or Ecuador or something. Well, back in the 90s, he was a very popular comedian, similar to like Fluffy and like George Lopez. He was a very, very popular comedian. Well, at the time, and again, this was early mid-90s, right? Not that it was Carlos Mencia's house, okay, but it was one of his frontline individual comedians. At the time, I didn't know that it was, but it was him and his girlfriend, and the girlfriend, it was the one that owned the property. She wanted to sell her house. So my mentor goes in there and he introduces me as his partner. He doesn't say he's learning. He says, "This is my partner, Simon, and you get the best." And the way that and the style was, he was very charismatic, put it that way, right? So he would break the ice all the time, and this is why I want to emphasize the importance of always breaking the ice with whoever you speak with, right? Because people, again, get that connection and get that feeling that, hey, this person I can vibe, I can adapt, I can connect. There's something about it, right? That's where your job comes in, right? You always want to smile. You always want to have eye contact, and you always want to have a firm shake, right? Hi, nice to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for coming into my office. What brings you here to the office or to the open house, right? That's the nature of what you need because it'll resonate, right? People will feel it. And that's the cool part of what we do, right? So I was like nervous and I was not even doing anything. I was just sitting there like a deer with a headlights in front of me. I was like just absorbing in everything. He took the lead and they had questions. And, the boyfriend who was not on title was there as well. So ultimately, we walk out, he has the listing executed. And what does he do? He adds me to the listing. I go, I didn't do anything. I know, but you're my partner. So I says, wow, that is so cool. So now I had a little bit of that, ability that in the office is, well, Mr. Baca, his name was Mr. Baca, and Simon now have a listing. It's like this guy just started about a month ago and he already has a listing out of it, and I was like, I didn't really get the listing. It was him that did it. He just added me to it. But that was the cool thing and the avenue. But that made me look at different angles and how to approach, right? He had a way and he had a personality and the way and style and how he would connect with people. And he wouldn't start off with, this is what I'm going to do to sell my house. He would start off and identify something that he can now have a conversation. And those are the things and the qualities that all of you, when you meet a buyer for the first time, when you meet a seller for the first time, or an investor, right? Because the end goal is for you to connect, right? That they want to work with you. Yeah, I'm ready to sign a buyer agreement with you. Yeah, I want to list my home with you. Or yeah, you know what? You do bring a lot of value. I want to work with you as an investor, right? That is the key, and that is the ultimate satisfaction and excitement of what we do, right? So let me kind of go fast forward a little bit. Now I was in the trenches of all this, and I just started doing more and more and more open houses, and I started getting good. It was a systematic where I was doing open houses every weekend. That's all I was doing, or I was doing them during the week, depending on my schedule, right? Because sometimes I had Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays off, so I would do an open house either on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, because that's the only time I had because I worked on the weekends.
Were you law enforcement?
Yeah. I was 23 when I got into law enforcement, and I was 24 when I got my real estate license. So I was trying to balance both. And then the times that I was off, that's when I was like, I got to do some real estate because, when I got that first check, which was peanuts, but it gave me a sense of satisfaction. It's like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was. The process is not as bad. It's a lot of communications. It's a lot about talking. It's getting to know them like a relative, right? And just getting to know their needs and wants. And then you just go with the flow of it, right? And obviously, it's the mutual understanding as you're navigating the transaction. And the goal is obviously to close the deal, right? Because all of us get paid. The seller sells, the buyer buys, you get, the other agent get paid, the escrow gets paid, title gets paid, home inspector companies, they all get paid, right? And a successful close of a deal. So to have that mindset when working with buyers or working with sellers, the importance of how you push through, right? Fill in those gaps, fill in those gaps, fill in those gaps, and boom, before you know it, you're closing the deals, right?
Yeah.
All right, so lead generated and lead follow-ups ultimately to a transaction. And I'll come back to my little story because you'll be pretty impressed of what transpired with Marty Rodriguez.
Okay.
True story,
Yeah.
true story. All right, so Gary Keller says the right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. Just ask for it, right? How many times have I said to all of you, I've said it in the team meeting and I've said it on a one-on-one is APTO, okay? And I'll write it down if we have. Just so you get an idea, is APTO, okay? So APTO. Always write this down, it's AFTO, AFTO, okay? And that basically stands for ask for the order, ask for the order. My mentor back then told me, I want you to remember one thing and one thing only, Simon. He says, remember this acronym. He says AFTO. I says AFTO. How do I spell AFTO? AFTO? He goes, yeah. What is that? What is, huh?
You said ask for the what?
Ask for the order. Order.
So set the appointment.
Yeah. So basically you transition that into get the appointment, okay? But ask for the order, right? Like when you go to a fast food or you go to a restaurant, right? You ask what you want, right? So you also have to also align yourself is every time you're talking to someone is have that mindset, ask for the order, ask for the order. Because that's what my mentor instilled in me every single time. I mean, what is APTO? Ask for the order.
Right.
And he would just throw little jabs on here. Hey, what are we doing today? We're gonna ask for the order. You know, it was just a mindset, but an ability for us to have that fun engagement.
Yeah.
But it helped me, okay? It may help you, it may not help you. I don't know. But the essence, this is just one of the unique ways that you can create an opportunity because, again, no one knows you're in real estate. Okay, no one knows. If you're not wearing a badge like Minnie is, no one is going to know. But that's also a conversational
It
piece.
is.
People will look at that and say,
Yeah.
oh, you're a KW agent,
Yeah.
awesome, you know, and they'll start the conversation
Yeah.
with you. You know how many people ask Salvador?
Yeah. So make-
Salvador had a interesting story, and I had him up here speak at our team meeting one time because that's exactly how he picked up a deal. Because he had his name badge, and he wears it like a police officer, like a pilot. He wears his name badge with a heart because he
Well,
knows
Yeah,
that's 1% of opportunity right
yeah.
there.
Well, and everywhere you do go, like Starbucks, Costco, the market, they do they look at, before they look at my face, they'll look at my chest first, you know, and then
Yeah.
I love it, you know?
Yeah,
And they'll say, oh, we love Keller Williams, or, you know, they'll start talking about it.
that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So does this resonate with everyone? The right
Yeah.
approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. It's just ask.
yeah,
Okay, are you
Yeah.
asking for business? Are you?
yeah,
Okay, every day is like everyone that you meet for the first time, you know, the engagement is, even if it's small talk,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And you can do it as a sense of humor, right? You know, I do real estate. I'm with a phenomenal real estate company here in the city of Torrance. You mind if I give you my business card? Here it is, right?
Yeah.
I remember many, many years ago, I was on Whittier Boulevard. And a high performance Lamborghini or Ferrari passed by me. And we were waiting for the red light to turn green. And the sound was loud, the car was beautiful. It's like, man, that is a cool car, man. One day,
Yeah,
his window was halfway, so I couldn't see who was the driver.
yeah,
So I had a stack of business cards, and guess what I do? I get one of my business cards and I flick it. And the business card goes inside and I take off running.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, true story.
Uh.
I take off running, the guy is going, and then I end up losing him. And
Uh-huh.
it's like, you know, that was probably not the right thing to do.
But
But I did it. No,
Did
no,
they try following you?
no, he didn't try following me. He
Oh,
probably
we're
thought,
doing that.
well, to call me,
Yeah.
hey, if you want to buy or sell real estate, hey, if you can afford a Lamborghini, you must be able to afford a house. True story, I literally flicked her and the thing is, it went inside the window.
That's funny.
So, you know, strike of the luck on that one, but no, I don't think I ever heard from the guy, but. You know, or gal, I don't know if it was a male or a female,
Yeah.
tinted windows and the window was a little low, so. But anyhow, you know, just again, going back to the acronym AFTO, right, ask for the order, right? And it just gives you just another way of thinking of things, right? You know, we all have 24 hours, 7 days out of the week, right? How you utilize those hours is really up to you. There's some people that are night owls.
Yeah.
There's some people that are early birds that wake up super early, right? You can still find time to do your legion. You can
Yeah.
still find time to do the necessary work to get you results, right? So again, I just want you to think about all that. All right, buyers. All right, we talked about the database. Most of all of the curriculum always talks about the lead captures, the database, the leads, the contacts, and then preparing for the conversation, right? And it's a step and repeat, right? Every time, right? It's a systematic conveyor belt. Remember, working with buyers, working with sellers, the system is always going to be the same. What I mean by that is if you go on a listing for 500,000 or 5 million, the process is the same. If it's also working with a buyer at 500,000 or 5 million, the system is always going to be the same as well, right? So you got to have that understanding is don't be afraid. It's going to be okay. The level of conversation and the level of sophistication may be a little different, but remember, if you understand the process, you're going to be okay. You're going to do fine. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here's kind of the buyer service cycle, right? It goes into a couple of components, right? One is number one, leads to appointments, right? This is again going back to the opportunities, right? If you're out there and have a booth, or if you're doing an open house, you're at a park, maybe you're doing some type of community event, or you're at a network event. These are opportunities to pass each other's contact information, right? Again, it's not rocket science at the end of the day. It's just good old conversation, right? And it may lead here, it may lead that, it may lead here, but it's an opportunity, right? Number two goes into preparing for the buyer consultation, right? This appointment, right, which is a set appointment that you have here in the office for at 4 o'clock, right? At 4 o'clock, now will lead to a consultation, right? With all of the changes happening, right? Now the opportunity to really sell your value, okay? Your value and why you should be the one helping them find their next home. Okay, then the consultation, right? No difference than when you go on a lawyer consultation, right? You go on a consultation is like, okay, I need some advice, right? Whatever the advice is. Or if you're doing a remodel of your home, you talk to an architect or you talk to a contractor, right? You sit down and go over what those specs are.
Right.
Well, as a buyer, also, you know, do you have the necessary guidance and tools that are going to set you apart and why they're going to sign the agreement? And now you have a fiduciary obligation and responsibility to work with this buyer, right? That's where the consultation comes into it. Number three, buyer consultation, preparing, and then the actual consultation. Then once you have that signed, obviously is the exciting part, right? Let's go out and find some houses, right? That's the cool part, right? That's what we want to do is now the excitement, right? Depending on what price point, right? $1 million, fantastic, ching ching, I'm thinking big money, right? Or 500,000, right? There's money in every deal, right? And in the beginning, maybe you'll get a small transaction, but don't take it for granted, okay?
At least.
Because remember, because this may eventually become something bigger, like a snowball effect, right? And what I mean by that is, let's say that you got a buyer into their first home. It's their first home, and it's 500,000.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is an entry-level home, small house, But here it is. Look at the bigger picture. Buyers within 3 to 5 years, guess what happens?
The life bigger.
Yeah, they'll either grow a family
Yeah.
or want to expand to a bigger home, want to move into a more desirable neighborhood, right? And they may decide to sell this house. And because you gave great customer service, right? They're going to remember you, right? And say, you know what? Mimi was an amazing agent. And I don't know how she did it, but the magic that she had to convince the seller to sell to us was amazing. I want that same experience to happen when we sell our home. Let's call me,
Yeah.
right? We're hoping that Mimi's still in real estate, right? You need to be in touch with them on a
Yeah.
regular basis, right?
Mhm.
But the essence of it is that that's the awesome and the exciting part is that may lead to them selling their home. Guess what? They have friends, family,
Yes.
they have colleagues, they have people that they know. And because you gave great service, that one buyer may be multiple buyers or multiple sellers. You know how many times I've gotten and agents gotten referrals from people that you've done a great job from the little things, because a lot of people would say, you know, this amazing agent, you know, spend the time and necessary to get us where we want it. You know, and we're so grateful because we dealt with 2 or 3 other agents and they just push us through the curve. And I just didn't see, you know, any value, but when this individual, Simon, took over, you know, he was able to finish it and close the deal for us.
And people remember that.
100%, yeah. Then obviously, once we identify the home, right, then now the
Yeah.
negotiation, which offer and negotiations. Hi, this is Simon over at KW. Mimi, I'm calling you regarding your listing on 123 ABC Street, right? Do you have any offers on the table, right? Do you have any offers that you're going to be accepting, or do I have time to even submit?
Yeah.
My client saw the home this afternoon. They fell in love with it. They'd like to write up an offer. Do we have time, right?
Yeah.
All of these are, you know, qualifying conversations, because ultimately what you want is to get your foot in, right?
Yeah.
And then you start the negotiations aspect of it. Remember 3 things from a process, right? Negotiations is in the beginning, in the middle, and even at the end of the deal before it closes. There's always going to be negotiations. And this is why you have to kind of navigate that, right? Most transactions are smooth as butter, but most of them too can be chaotic too, where there's going to be bumps and bruises to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
And there's ones that you're just going to hit the wall and it's like, man, oh man, what's going on? Now the deal falls out, the deal cancels. So many things can happen, right? So the essence is the negotiations. Number 6 is the contracts to close, right? The end goal is to your 30-day process. You're going through your due diligence and releasing contingencies. And now you're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. Boom. And now you close the deal. Congratulations. The buyer buys the property. You're handing the keys to the buyer. The seller is selling their home, closing their deal, and now they're moving on to their next chapter of their lives, right? And then number 7, the post-close system, right? What does that mean? Well, you know, mentally, physically, and emotionally preparing the buyer, right? We're about to finish the transaction. You know, are we ready to transition from your current place and all that fun stuff? And that's kind of the cycle of the buyer service.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, thoughts? Okay.
Question.
Yes.
After you help them out with the home, like how often do you like reach out to them?
Yeah. Well, the beauty is the more the better, right? You want to stay in connections with them because, again, what are you trying to accomplish here, right? You're trying to accomplish more referrals,
Right.
you know, and it starts with your one client that leads to 2 or 3 or 4. But remember, you have those clients, they have friends and families too.
Right.
So it's a circle effect, right? And that's the whole purpose, because most agents work on referrals only. They don't go and lead gen.
Anymore.
There's like Marie Lee, one of our agents here, who lives in Colorado now, is licensed in Colorado, licensed in California, and she still puts a book of business here in Redondo Beach because she was so embedded and did a lot of her lead gen in the early years of her career. And to this day, she gets listings from people that she has relationships. That is the awesome part of it. That's just another layer of opportunity, right? We have to consistently be out there looking for more opportunities, right? But the essence is referrals are some of the amazing stuff. Now let me go back to my, aha moment and,
Oh, yeah, your story.
with the story,
Yeah.
so then throughout my career, I only spent a few years as a salesperson. I had the mindset I wanted to have my broker's license and I wanted to open up this big real estate company. So at the age of 26, I completed all of my curriculum and then applied for my broker's license. So at 26, I went and took the state exam. Now I went to downtown and it was a 200 multiple choice with a 70% pass, right? In essence, I went and remember back then, they didn't give you the results. It would literally take you a month and a half to get your results. Yeah. So I was in pins and needles. And then finally, I got my results and guess what? I failed.
You failed it?
I failed my broker's exam. Yeah, I got a 69 of a 70.
Oh, shoot, you
So I
almost
either
made it.
missed it by
Yeah.
1 or 2
Two
points.
questions, yeah.
I was devastated. It's like, come on,
Yeah,
that cannot happen.
yeah.
But the reality is it did happen. And I was like, okay. So I had to reapply again and went through it. So I took it the second time immediately after because I was like gung ho. I want to get my brokers. I want to have that entitlement. I want to eventually open up a real estate shop. And so I took it a second time. And the second time, I honestly didn't feel like I passed. I was like, I don't know. This time it felt tough. It felt hard. And I remember I was next to an individual. She was Asian. And after we finished, she says, "Man, this is tough. This is a hard exam." I mean, she goes, "I've taken the Series 7, which is the CPA to get your accounting license." She goes, "I thought that was a lot easier than this darn broker's license." And so we kind of left and we exchanged information. And on December 24 is when I got the letter and my heart was pounding. It's like I looked at it because remember, they didn't give you the results immediately. We were still doing circles on a Scantron.
Yeah.
So I opened it up, I closed my eyes, and I went like this, and I still didn't open eye. Congratulations, you have successfully passed your broker exam. I was like, yeah, I got it. So I was an official real estate broker. So that's when I decided that, my time at the current office, it was a blessing. I enjoyed it, but it was on to the next, right? So I started thinking, okay, I got to think of a name. I got to find a location. I had no clue whatsoever what I was doing, but I knew I wanted to open up my own real estate company. That's that was my focus, right? And I had built good momentum. I was still working for the county, but I was definitely making good money in real estate, side hustle money, because I was consistent in those 2.5, 3 years of just plugging into open houses, right? If it was my listing or if it was someone else, I was hungry. And it just started building momentum. And that's how I kind of transitioned into, investments and buying properties.
And you're gonna have agents under you to bring.
Yeah. That's what I wanted. I wanted to build a big company, not to the level of a franchise, but just where, I had some solid agents that wanted to also make, some serious money. So fast forward now, you'll go into my own shop and, the 2008 market crash. If you were part of 2008, it was a really, really tough time in real estate. And, you thought COVID was bad?
No,
No,
my mom was doing all foreclosures and short sales because all the people that couldn't pay their loans.
that's right. There was a lot of foreclosures. There was a lot of short sales. There was a lot of stuff. And property value kept going down and down and down. Where now you listed the property and it was going down, where now the mortgage was more than what the house was worth.
Right.
So we had a lot of people that were basically upside down. It was one of the most interesting times in real estate. And I was in the benchmark because I have been able to create from that the time I got my broker's license to the time of 2008, over 25 agents to work for my company. That 25 solid agents that were working for me, and I kind of pivoted into the investment portfolio parameter. So when the market of '08 happened, everything went down. Agents could not make any money in real estate, so they decided, "But I gotta go make a living, I gotta go find a job.
Be right.
I gotta go find a job." And I had agents working at FedEx, UPS, you know, working at the markets, working at retail stores, because
Anywhere.
we had to make a living. I was at the verge, guys, too, as well, financially, because I had over leveraged myself. I had a stable job and I was making a regular salary.
Right.
But I over leveraged myself with investment portfolios that had not been completed, contractors working, wanting me to write checks to them.
Yeah.
And now I was kind of freaking out because I couldn't afford,
Right.
because I had no certainty that what I bought the property for, that I'm gonna be able to sell it with all of the upgrades on it. It was a bad time for me.
You didn't lose anything though, did you?
Well, I was at the verge of basically going homeless, and I was married at the time with two stepdaughters,
Yeah.
and I had bought a beautiful place in La Habra Heights. If you know La Habra Heights, it's on the cusp of the LA County by Fullerton. I had a beautiful home that I had bought there, and on a clear day, you can actually see Catalina Island. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna make all this money, I can afford, you know, a big home, and I went and bought an acre property. Thinking that, yeah, things are great,
Yeah.
life is good,
Right.
everything is awesome,
Yeah.
I can make it happen. Money was coming in from real estate, and the agents also, you know, giving me commissions, you know, a percentage of it. And then when the market crashed, it's like, holy moly, you know, I was at the verge of almost going short sale on my primary residential home. And thank goodness someone ended up buying it, but I kind of broke even,
Yeah.
literally broke even. There was no more money in it, no equity on it. I just needed to get under it because I just couldn't continue. And I was like, either I lose the property and unfortunately go homeless, or move in with my parents, with a family,
Yeah.
in my old bedroom. It's like, I just couldn't comprehend with all that stuff. You know?
That must have been like.
Well, I'm just being
Yeah.
honest with you. That's exactly, you know, I think about it now and I reflect, it's like, I can laugh about it.
Yeah.
But during that time, it was very stressful,
Yeah.
very stressful. And then my ex-wife at the time, you know, she was an underwriter for Washington Mutual.
For loans.
Yeah, so she was doing underwriting loans for subprime, you know,
Loans were
and unfortunately, she lost her job and she was making at the time, I think 65, 70,000. You know, so that was kind of helping us stay afloat.
Right.
Put it this way, guys, I mean, I was literally living off of credit cards. I was going to Sam's and Costco and
Right.
using credit cards to survive.
Yeah.
Because I was not making enough money to support a family with just my salary. And I was making good money
Right.
working for the county,
Right.
but I had so much overage of the investments that I put myself into,
Yeah.
thinking, I'm gonna sell them, I'm gonna sell them, I'm gonna sell them.
No,
And the
so-
reality, that never happened. So I was like over my head in stress, you know?
Yeah.
So fast forward now, you know, 2009, the ex-wife, you know, and I decided to divorce. And a lot had to do because of financial purpose, you know, I couldn't maintain the same lifestyle. She wanted to continue living this
No, you can't.
this luxury of, and it wasn't really luxury, but it was, I was living a very comfortable life.
Right.
And I couldn't sustain it
Yeah, you
anymore.
don't- they come
And
in
what
and-
ended up happening, we ended up separating, and that was in a nutshell, a living nightmare as well, you know,
Yeah.
so. You know, life experience and things that we go through, right? And I think back and I reflect, all of the stuff that I've gone through is like, would you do things different? Like, probably not,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But it's a learning lesson
It is.
because life will tell you and will speak to you on a regular basis. So fast forward, ended up finalizing and then meeting my second wife. Okay, yes, I've been married twice. So meeting my second wife, and then, you know, she said, well, you know, you're doing well, but you want to also look at maybe possibly getting into like a management position, right? I go, well, it's not going to work for me as a full-time working for the county and working as you know, leadership or management. She goes, well, you know, maybe they're looking for part-time. Well, that same year is also when I was found to have some issues with the department. I was involved in a injury that altered my position. And now I was now set back from a medical accident that happened on a foot pursuit. And that kind of just went left field. That's when I literally broke down. Depression came into play. And it's like, now I don't have a job. Real estate is barely making enough. And I have a new wife. And what the heck is going on? I was going like crazy in my mind. But one way or another, we all go through a rabbit hole, right? And that rabbit hole will eventually, as long as you keep being positive, you'll get out of it, right? So that's how it kind of started for me and got into leadership. And that's where I landed here.
How long ago was that?
This was in 2013.
Wow.
So you've been here
2012.
since 2013? So you ended up they hired you here in this person's company?
Yeah,
This office?
I started here as the broker of the company. Yeah, so that's how I started, and then I kind of pivoted into leadership, and been
That's
doing that
great,
ever
yeah.
since.
So you were talking about contracts. So how did the contracts come into with the
Yeah,
broker?
yeah.
Right, how did you learn contracts at the end of the game? How did you do that?
So let me just finish my little story here, and then I'm going to go back. So there was a time where I ended up leaving KW for a little bit, and then I became a branch manager for another real estate company. And remember, I shared with you back in the 90s of a individual by the name of Marty Rodriguez, right? Well, that same company that I got hired, she also was the same brokerage, right? So I became the branch manager, and one of the lenders there says, hey, I have connections that you may want to have someone come in and speak to your agents about how to get motivated in real estate. I said, yeah, I would love that. Who this person is. And she says, it's the one and only Marty Rodriguez. And I kind of chuckled and I laughed. I go, Marty Rodriguez. Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Okay. So I didn't say anything to her, and we finally get it set up, and I get to meet Marty Rodriguez right in front of me.
Yeah.
And she is just a pistol. And even after all these years, she's still gung-ho, aggressive, motivated. And, if you were to hear her, she's a motivating speaker. So I let her do her spiel, and she had everyone motivated and happy. And then at the end of our sales meeting, because she spoke for an hour, I said, Marty, I want to thank you very much for coming in, really speaking to our agents. Remember, I was a branch manager for this office.
Yeah.
Not that she knew, right? I said, I'd like to share a story with you if it's okay. She goes, yeah, absolutely. And then that's when I went with emotions. Well, back in the early 90s, I was this young real estate agent that wanted to learn from some of the best out there. And one of them was you. And she goes, me? I go, yeah. I had reached out to your office and asking for an opportunity to see if I can work for you. And, just to cut to the chase, you basically shot me down and you said, son, I don't hire new agents. And I took that as like, I was a little bent out of shape. I was kind of like, oh man, I really wanted to learn from some of the top agents in the nations that are doing well.
Yeah.
And you shot me down. And now look at us, full circle. Now I'm running a large real estate company. And now you are one of my guest speakers. And she literally broke down in tears.
She did?
She did. She goes, I don't remember this. I know you don't, but I do, and I remember the conversation and I was very vivid about it. But everyone applauded, everyone's like amazing about it, and I still, thanked her for the opportunity.
You said that in front of everyone too?
Yeah, in front of everyone.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did she break down in tears? Because she was repenting or because she?
Well, just because probably the emotional aspect of it is like, here's this young individual now that has climbed, in leadership, right? And their humble experience as a young agent, and now, as a leader running a real estate office.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a nutshell. So what was your question now?
My question was, how did you learn the contract, since that's what the initial motivation of getting
Yeah,
into real estate
so
was, which
is-
is what you do now, by the way. so
Yeah,
it's-
I
big part of
literally
what you do.
dissected every form and then I just started reading, taking classes. I was speaking with instructors at school that were all about contracts. I was, just looking at the forms and reading them and reading them and reading them and just kind of breaking down every segment of it so I can get a better understanding of how to navigate. And, I got to the point where this is before all of these changes. I used to have everything kind of memorized where I knew, paragraphs and all of that stuff. With all these big changes, it's hard now to keep track. But that's how I started doing it, is just really just getting involved with reading the contracts. So what I emphasize and I stress with all of you, right, is one, you can purchase through the California Association of Realtors. The book is this thick, okay? And I have a copy if you'd like to see it in my office.
Yeah.
I just purchased a new revised form as a car member. It's $99. If you're not a member, it's almost $200. But it's a book that has all of the forms,
Oh, really?
okay?
Yeah.
Instead of going on your computer,
printing them all
you
out.
have the whole in front of you where you can see all the different types of car forms that
And
you
it's the
have.
latest forms too?
It's the latest car forms with
How
all.
often does that get changed?
Well, depending on the changes, I want to say once a year, they change it. So I just got the newest version
Okay.
of it and it's still being shipped. And I'll probably share it at our team meeting
Yeah.
as well, so that way you guys can have it.
Because
Like,
otherwise you have to print out all the contracts and then go through and read them yourself,
yeah, but you have it in some of the three-ring binder.
Yeah.
And you get, and it's all, you can see, okay, the.
What is the contract? What is the book
It's
called?
called the California forms.
Forms, okay.
Yeah, purchase.
Real estate forms? or-
Real estate forms, something like that. I can show it to you as well. All right, getting to the appointment, guys. All right, so key to converting your 8 buyers, right? Respond right away to lead inquiries. Number 2, get valid and complete contact information, save it to your command and create opportunities. Determine their motivation to buy so you can speak to it. Okay, and then set an appointment time and date for as soon as possible, right? Everything that we do should be about urgency, right? Because if you're not doing it, someone else is going to jump in there and take your opportunity, right? And that goes for both buyers and sellers, right? The essence of what we're trying to do is if a lead comes in, you want to immediately try to tackle on that lead so that way you know if you're going to have an appointment, because every lead that comes in, your ultimate goal is to what? To set the appointment, right? Hey, thank you so much for calling me. I'd love the opportunity to, meet with you. When is a good time to come to the office or wherever, right? To set that appointment, right? And there has to be a valid approach, right? In the mind, you should always be ready mentally to have the written agreement in place, right? Which is your buyer representation agreement. So anytime you're talking to anyone that's looking to buy, you want to have that buyer representation agreement ready. If you're going on a listing appointment, you want to have that listing agreement ready to sign as well, right? You can take a hard copy and have them sign, or you can do everything vetted out as long as you have their email, then you can also do it DocuSign as well, okay? All right. 7 close to appointment tactics. All right, number 1, show the benefit. All right, what values and benefits do you have that sets you apart from your competitors? Right. Well, you want to start thinking of all this stuff. Take back clothes, right? So take back clothes is, what are some of the areas that we can focus on to get you closer to ultimately have you sign an agreement with me, right? And that goes back to your value proposition. Number 3, negative, positive close, right? Remember, everything we do is all about positive. Anything that is negative, right? It can haunt you or hurt you in the process, right? So you always want to come from contribution and positivity. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then number 4, give them what they are looking for, right? Anything and everything, right? Well, tell me, Mimi, what is it that you're looking for in this particular property, right? Or what are the specifics that you're looking to have as part of your new home, right? Asking those embedded questions, right? Number five, trial close, right? The ultimate is always to have the mindset that you want to put them in escrow. Okay, escrow. Let's get into escrow in your head, right? Because that's going to ultimately lead to compensation and deals close. Number six goes into assumption close. And number seven is the tie downs. So let's kind of break it down. And I believe the next one goes into all that. Okay, so buyer objections to the appointment. Number one, ask questions. Number two, emphasize. Number three, identify the real issue. Number four, offer solutions. And number five, urge an agreement, right? So let's start with this. Why is it important to ask questions?
Cause that way you learn about what their big why is,
100%, yeah.
and what their motivation is.
That's right.
Yeah.
The more questions you ask, right? The more questions you ask, the better alignment that you're going to fit the perfect home for them, right? And it starts with asking a lot of questions, right? The more questions, the better it's like, okay, now I can really dissect and define what you want. Okay, what area are we looking? Are you looking for a single family or a condominium? Is a pool a priority? Does the house have to have an AC? How many bedrooms do you need? How many baths do you need? Do you need a big, large backyard, or are you okay with a small backyard? Is the house needs to be landscaped? It is an important factor to you, right? Do you need a garage? Does it have to be attached or detached, right? Do you need a long driveway because you may have an RV or more vehicles, right?
Yeah.
All of these questions are as part of the nurturing process, but it ultimately gives you more closer connection of what they want, because now you're writing all this down and you're having a mental note of it. Okay, and that leads to number two, the emphasis, right? You want to emphasize, the important is, okay, that is wonderful that you want an AC. Living in Southern California, definitely year round, we have, 75 to 85 degrees, and sometimes 100 degrees, depending on where the home is. So I can understand why it's very important for you to have an AC or an air conditioner, right? Identify the real issues. Look, so what is the main core reason that this house doesn't hit all the bells and whistles? Based on what we originally talked through our consulting, is you were looking for X, Y, and Z. This home hits all X, Y, and Z. What am I missing here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's not that. It's just I want the house to face this way instead of that way. Okay, so is that the only thing that concerns you, is the house is facing this instead of that? He goes, well, yeah, but also I was kind of hoping that it wasn't on a cul-de-sac. Okay. So yeah, there's pros and cons and benefits to having a house on a cul-de-sac, right?
Yeah.
Limited space and parking.
Yeah.
It is quieter,
Yeah.
and you're not going to get a lot of traffic compared to a big, busy street for sure, right? And then obviously, what is the offer of solution, right? Always think of, and write this down, Bess. I think I've said it last time, but I'll say it one more time. There is a solution for every matter. There is a solution for every matter, right? You gotta find solutions to everything that they do, right? Meaning is that if there's some gap in between the motivation to buy, to sell, to invest, is how do I fill in that cushion, right? To get them to do what they want and what they really truly ask you as part of the process, right? So you gotta be that solution-oriented agent. Find a solution. We all have it, right? Think outside the box, right? That's the importance of navigating the win-win, right? Because once you get to the core of it, then you'll know how to navigate it if you need to go left, if you need to go right, or if you need to go straight, right? The essence and the importance of what we do, folks, right? And then lastly is the urge and agreement, right? The end goal is the motivation for them to pull the trigger and submit an offer, right? Pull the trigger that they're going to sign a buyer representation agreement with you, right? Pull the trigger that they want to sell their home, right? That's where you need to show your value, right? What is stopping you right now, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, from taking the next step? Okay, well, we want to think about it. Okay, with three minds here, what is it that we need to think about, right? And let them come to the core of the reason behind their decision why to pause, that they don't want to, necessarily sign up right now, right? well, with all these changes, I don't wanna pay you a buyer commission. I said, I get it, and I've been getting a lot of these issues where buyers feel comfortable that they are responsible, but the nature of what we do now is that's how we practice real estate now. Part of the process is, if we're gonna be working with the buyer, and we cannot rely on the seller to pay us commission anymore, we have to lean towards our buyers to help us with our costs. No agent unfortunately doesn't want to work for free, right, and take the liability. So I need to work with you in a sense that you understand that, my time is also valuable just as much as yours. Would you agree?
Mhm.
Okay. But the end goal is, reinsure them, right? Reinsure them and say, look, my ultimate goal is really to help get the compensation from the seller, right? But if the seller comes back and says no to it, then we have to make a decision. Do you want to continue or do you want to look at another property? Yes.
So let's say the purchaser, the buyer doesn't want to pay you full commission, say 3%, just say number. And the seller doesn't want to pay you any commission also. So the only person you can get the money from is the buyer, not the seller. How low are you willing as an agent, or that you want to give us advice on how low are? I mean, I know the brokerage has a set minimum, because I know what is a minimum for that? Does it depend on the value of the property? What does it depend on?
Well, all of the forms have a disclaimer, right? That disclaimer says what? All commissions are negotiable between the buyer and the seller, right? It's negotiable.
Mhm.
Now, we have a standard practice here that there's a certain threshold that we will not go below, right? Because of liability.
Mhm.
If someone says, I'm gonna pay you $1, right? And you say, I'm okay with $1, it defeats the purpose, right? Because if this ever goes into a lawsuit, your deductible unfortunately is gonna be a little higher than that. Why would you put yourself in that position, right?
Mhm.
What is your worth at the end of the day, right?
Mhm.
I know what I'm worth,
Mhm.
okay? And if you don't see the value of what I'm worth, I respect that.
Mhm.
I understand that. I get it.
Mhm.
But at the end, maybe I'm just not the right buyer, agent for you.
Mhm.
And you have to be okay with that too, folks. And you have to be. And because again, I'm not a discount broker, I'm not a discount agent, and I know what my value. You're gonna get top tier concierge service. I'm gonna be on, my calls, my texts, my emails. I'm gonna be on top of, the initial process. I have an awesome team behind me, my transaction coordinator, my lenders. Whoever is involved with it, that we're gonna be on the same page as well, right?
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, everything is negotiable. But the essence is, we have to really articulate the conversation and win them over on why you are the right agent for them. Okay, and not all of them are going to. Okay, so I want to make clear that you have to be okay with that.
Mhm.
You're gonna go on listing appointments, and guess what? You're not gonna get the listing. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're gonna go on buyer consultations, and guess what? You're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
You gotta be okay.
Sometimes people just don't feel you, they just don't
It's not
feel
even
you.
about the feel,
It's- yeah.
maybe it's overwhelming, they get cold feet.
Right.
They have a change of heart, something happens, they lose their job, so
Yeah, and
many
you don't take it
variables.
personally.
You can't, thank you. Yeah, at the end of the day, you cannot take anything personal,
No, you just-
because if you take it personal, guess what, you're gonna drive yourself bananas.
And you just went and that, you don't burn any bridges and you just say, oh, well, if in the future anything changes, let me know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Can't take it personal.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, don't take it personal,
Don't feel offended if they don't hire you.
yeah, why aren't you not using me?
Exactly. And then you go home and have a glass of wine.
There you go.
And you feel miserable
Yeah.
because you just saw
Yeah.
$30,000 in
You
commission.
you can't think about it that way, yeah.
Exactly, all right, so next on the agenda is preparing for the buyer consultation, right? Pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah,
The ultimate thing that we want to do is get the appointment, right? We want to get the appointment because that shows that the buyers are motivated, that they want to, look into buying a home.
Mhm.
Or at least they think they want to buy a home, right? Because you may go on an appointment And they just wanna and believe that they can, but they may not be able to, right? Financially,
Right,
credit wise.
yeah,
You
you have to
know?
help them get to that point.
Yeah, they may wanna buy, but their FICO scores, their credit score is really, really low.
So you have to
You
help
know?
them build that up.
Yeah, so how do you think outside the box when someone wants to, but can't? Right, or even like your first time home buyer. This is why you need to be in constant conversations with, like Fernando or Chris Rivera. Hey, what's the latest programs you have for first time home buyers, right? Because they may have one that may be good for your clients that may have very low amounts of money. One of my clients is a first time home buyer. They're 21 and 22.
That's what you're saying.
And they're buying a home in Riverside,
That's
right, for
great.
550,000.
Great.
That's a nice
You
house.
know, but I was able to negotiate where they're going in basically with no money down. So I helped secure the 3%, with the 3% from the seller, the closing cost from the seller, okay? And on top of that, because this was a referral from a good friend of mine, this is her daughter buying. I'm also giving concessions to help them,
Right.
because they're young.
Yeah.
But they want home ownership,
But like in a couple of years, they might sell that, make money
Well,
from
they're
it and
great.
get a different, bigger place. They're just getting their foot in the door.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So again, that goes through the initial process. So the buyer consultation preparation checklist, right? One, confirm the appointment date and time, right? So if I'm going on a consultation appointment, the first thing is, hey, this is Simon over at KW, just confirming our appointment today at 6 o'clock. Are we still good to go, right? Oh, thank you so much for reminding me. I know I had it on the calendar, but I might have to push or reschedule with you. Okay, not a problem. I'm glad I reached out. Okay, that's why I do what I do. So what day and what time works? Is tomorrow the same time work or another day, right? Confirm the appointment location, right? Common sense.
Yeah.
Hey, I know we have a confirmed appointment today at 6 o'clock. My question to you is, are we still going to be here at the office?
Yeah.
Or is it we're meeting at a Starbucks, right? You want to go in a place that you have some privacy and quietness. Because if you're in a place that there is a lot of noise, it kind of distracts people. So you want to find a quiet location, either at their home or here at the office. This is why we have conference rooms where you can utilize it for that purpose, and you can use this room too. If both of our conference rooms are upstairs or use this room, if you don't have any big events happening, and you need an hour or two, then why not use the conference, the training?
What time do they close the doors, the front doors?
The main door closes, I believe, at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Okay, and I believe they open up at 7:30 in the
Okay.
morning. But if you have your fob, you have access 24/7, even after hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the main door opens also the main door to the office. It opens the back door and it opens up the side door where the restrooms are at as well. Okay. All right, number 3, ensure all decision makers are there. Important, right?
Yeah, husband and wife.
Yeah, if it's only one person, but you know both, and it's a husband and wife, guess what? You better make sure that both are there or reschedule the appointment, because again, you only have one, the husband or the wife. The other person may not be happy with it. Why wasn't I there as part of the process? And now you may have to do a second appointment, or they may be in a position that they go a different direction. Just wanted to confirm, hey, our appointment today at 6 o'clock. I also wanted to make sure that we're meeting here at the office. And I want to also just clear that all of the decision makers are going to be here. Your husband or your wife, or anyone else, right? Then you go through the complete buyer guide, right? We created the buyer guides here that you can purchase for $15, $20, right? And just study it, right? Remember, it's a roadmap. It's a checklist, right? And it's not really that complex, right? There's a couple components to working with the buyer, right? It's getting them here, explaining what you do, getting them pre-qualified, looking at homes, negotiating homes, going through the due diligence of inspections, communications with the lender, making sure that the title and seller disclosures are up to par, asking for any requests or repairs, negotiating those terms, asking and checking in with the lender to see if we get the final approval, what are the conditions, and then ultimately doing your final walkthrough, and then congratulations, you have successfully closed. See, I just had that in my mind already, right? For a lot of us, we don't know because we haven't done any deals, right? But that's just kind of a glaze of what we do. There's obviously more involvement than just what I said, but in essence, the buyer doesn't know. They just want to know, I want this house, can I afford this house? And I want to have the keys within 30 days. Yes, sir.
The buyer's guy, you said that you guys have one here for $15?
Yeah, I can show it to you.
Yeah, is that different from like the KW, like the consultation fee? Like-
Yeah. I showed it once at our team meeting.
Yeah, I bought one,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have one.
yeah.
So it's very different or like similar, just more into detail?
It's more of a hard copy of it that you can staple your business card or glue your business card as a value proposition package for the buyer that they understand what the initial process from beginning to end when it comes to buying a home. Yeah, if you want after class, I can show you a copy of it.
I'd like to see it too.
Yeah.
Not gonna.
Just-
And I need, this person that keeps on, I need your advice on it.
You need to what?
I need some of your advice, so after class, I will.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. All right, so complete your buyer guide, prepare the meeting space, right? Obviously, you want to have, because they may have children, right? And you need to make sure you can accommodate everyone. And then review the lead sheet, right? The lead sheet can be all right, we can either talk to, let me call you back, bro, I'm still teaching class. Yeah, 4:00. 4:00, yeah, okay. So, the lead sheet is basically, all right, let's break it down, let's see, what we need, right? What is it that you're looking at? What location, how many bedrooms, how many bath, do you need a 2-story, single family, do you need a pool, a big backyard, stuff of that nature, right? And then breaking down what the cost. And this is where you also want to bring your lender, right? If you have a lender that can meet with your clients right there, any and all the questions can be answered and addressed at that point in time. All right, top 10 service areas of the buyer value proposition. Okay, so let's analyze and break it down. Okay, so number 1 goes into the needs analysis, right? Number 2, pre-qualification or pre-approval, right? The need analysis is basically what is it that we are trying to accomplish here, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer? Tell me a little bit more what that looks like, right? Because you want to be realistic with that. But you also want to make sure that, their expectation and your expectations are up to par, right? Because if they think that they can buy a $5 million home, but they only made $5,000, that's not being realistic, right? In their mind, they may think they want it.
Yeah.
We all do, right?
Yeah.
But the essence is this is why you need to know what their needs and wants are, right? Analyzing the circumstances, right? Because they may be wanting to buy, but their credit or job. And I'll be the first to tell you,
Yeah.
I've had people come into the office saying, I want to buy a house.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let me put you with one of our awesome agents.
Yeah.
Well, before you do that, can I just talk to you? I said, yeah, no problem. And then I'll ask you questions. Okay, so tell me what you're looking at. I want to buy a place here in Torrance. I go, okay. Do you have any children? Yeah, I have children. Okay, where is it that they're going to school right now?
Yeah.
Well, we're renting a place right now, but I'm only paying $1,000. I need something that I can afford around that price range.
Okay.
Well,
Good luck. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
but do you have additional income?
Mhm.
Do you have, someone else that's gonna help with the income? So there's many variables and ways in how you see that, right? So the importance is, really analyzing, because even though their intentions are that they want to buy, they may not be in a position to do so.
Yeah.
And I don't want you guys to waste time, even though that may be a deal,
Yeah.
but it's
But
not
wasting
really,
your time,
it's
yeah.
not really a deal, right?
Yeah.
Then the pre-qualification or pre-approval, right? You know, have you sat down with a lender, right? I have a phenomenal lender. Obviously, you want to give them heads up.
Yeah,
But here's the take that we can get you pre-qualified.
right,
All he needs to do is run your credit, check your
Yeah.
income, and then we can see where we land from there, right?
and pretty much all buyers have to have that letter, right? They don't.
Yeah. Most agents are gonna wanna have, are they pre-qualified, right? Even though the purchase agreement says that they can submit an offer without a pre-approval or qualifying letter. But most agents, you know, they don't wanna wait to see if they qualify. They wanna know that you already got through the motions.
Right,
And I'll share with you a story that happened to me one time at an open house. Is I went through the motions thinking, okay, I was just excited that they wanted to buy something.
right,
So I'm out there running around showing houses,
yeah,
and at the end of the day,
they did,
didn't qualify.
right, yeah,
And I'm like, I just wasted 4 hours showing houses to an unqualifying family. What the heck was I
yeah.
thinking? Well, I was, again, a new agent that didn't know any better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So you gotta look at it from that parameter as well, is that's why you need to ask a lot of questions.
and they don't necessarily lie, they just, maybe they're embarrassed or something, or maybe they just don't know, you know, so you're basically educating them, you know, so this is the.
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Number 3 goes into the neighborhood information, right? Okay, let's kind of dive deep in with that, what that looks like, right? I'm looking at the city of Torrance. Are you open to Lomita? Are you open to Carson? Are you open to other areas? You know, based on the budget, you know, there might be other opportunities, because if I can find you the house that you truly want, but not in the city, would you be okay with it? Yeah, I think I'm okay to go 1 or 2 cities out. Okay, and that happens quite often.
Yeah,
Quite often. Number 5 goes into, obviously, the excitement part of it is making offers. Number 6, negotiating to buy. Number 7, vendor coordination, right? This is, hey, who's your home inspection company? Who's your insurance company? Who's your plumber inspection company, right? Yeah, all of those variables are very important, because that's gonna lead you to have a more streamlined process, because time of the essence. It's time of the essence at the end of the day, guys, okay? If you have a 30-day process, right? You know, the whole month goes super quick, right? And then you have to also release contingencies. So having the right vendors, because there's gonna be a point in time where you also, right, also gonna need to put out requests of repairs
right,
and release contingencies, right? So that's why it's very important. Number 8 is the pre-close preparation, right? This is where it gets super exciting, is when that point in time, right? When, you know, we're ready to, you know, get the final, the approval on the loan, right? And, you know, now we're instructing escrow to give us a breakdown of what the amount of money that the buyer needs to bring into the table to close the deal, right? That's an exciting time process. That's a preparation time, right? And that preparation is like the final walkthrough, right? If you put a request of repairs in place, right? And now, you know, we're going back and doing our walkthrough, right? Did the seller do what we agreed to, right? So those are some of the elements that we have to look at as well. Number 9, closing, and number 10, the post-closing, right? Right at the end, you know, after the deal closes, congratulations. You know, part of it is maybe you want to do something to congratulate your clients for allowing you to service them, right? Maybe they want to do a home, what do they call it? A housewarming party?
yeah,
You want to be there,
yeah,
because they're going to say great things about you. Is, hi, I want to introduce you to Mimi.
yeah.
She was my phenomenal agent that helped us buy this beautiful home,
Right?
right?
They don't invite you, try to invite yourself in.
And
Well, and that's where you need to have those conversations. Says, listen, okay, if you have a party, please invite me to it. I'd love to meet with you, you know, as part of the process.
and then you ask them for a review or
Yeah.
testimony.
That's right.
Yeah,
So all of those are, and then, the other thing is, you know, as part of my service, I just want to make sure that I've hit every quality of the process for you. Can you give me a good review? You know, all of those reviews definitely help me. Give me a 5-star review, right? If you have like Google reviews as a process. Okay,
And you know, every company that if you buy a new car or every company asks you for a survey or a review for everything that you do, you know?
okay, so look at the buyer's guide content. Okay, so a lot of information here. And a lot of the stuff is obviously in these marketing pieces that we have as well. All right, so it goes through, you know, the number one, the welcome letter, timelines of the buying process, home search process, how to access your KW app, introduction and value proposition, pledge of quality of bio, you know, your bio, reasons to buy a home, local market analysis with price range and trends, financial worksheets, credit checks, interest rates, items required for the loan application, information on Keller Mortgage, Keller Covered, mistakes to avoid, buyer questionnaires, buyer's representation agreement, sample contracts, making offers, closing on a home, inspections, title search, agency disclosure, service providers, local attractions, maps of names of neighborhoods and zip codes, school information, utility guides, moving tips, testimonials about Keller Williams, and any Q&A, okay? This kind of gives you a nutshell of the initial process when it comes to working with the buyer. Now, all of this stuff, as I mentioned, it can be embedded in your mind, right? It doesn't have to be this detailed, but as long as you hit some of the core of these items here, then it's slammed up, right? It should be super simple to explain it and run down, you know, the process with someone. I don't have to look at this. I can tell you already in my mind what the initial process is, right? As a newly licensed agent or someone that hasn't worked with a buyer, well, that may be a little bit more complex, and I get it. But at the end, you know, this gives you kind of a roadmap, right, from A to Z, right? Here's the positions that we're going to be tackling on, right? And I also talk about like contingency, because a lot of buyers, first thing is, if I make an offer gets accepted, I'm going to lose my deposit if I back out of the deal. Okay, and that can happen. Well, it depends, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Depends on what happens.
Right.
There is a possibility that you may be in breach of your contract if you don't perform. But yes, you also have a time period that allows you to back out of the deal without consequences. And it can be because you don't want to buy the property or the house has a lot of issues with it. That gives you the exit out of the deal without penalties.
They get buyer's remorse,
Okay,
buyer, yeah.
Yeah.
They change your mind.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you got to look at it from all variables, okay? But this gives you kind of a synopsis, I guess, of the initial process. Any questions on this? All right, let's go ahead and continue. All right, all you need is command. It's totally customized. So a lot of the stuff, here you go. Okay, through command, your guide to home ownership, everything you need to know about buying a home. Okay, you can go into your command platform and you can probably pull this up as a resource, right, to utilize for the purpose of having a consulting appointment with a buyer. And here's the table of contents, your dream home, your references, your neighborhoods, buying 101, at your service, my promise, and the glossary. Okay. Kind of an example of what that looks like. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Who will be living in the home? List adults, children, and pets. Inhabiting the space. What are the non-negotiables for you? So that's a good one. And that's another one that you can use as every conversation. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what are the non-negotiables that you want to see? And let them throw those out. Okay. The non-negotiable is I don't want to live in a busy street. I don't want to live near a school, elementary. I don't want to live near a freeway or a train, right?
Right.
I don't want to live on a big area where there's a lot of retails, right? So there's a lot of reasons for sellers and buyers to say, these are my non-negotiables, so don't even bother showing me because I'm not going to buy, right, in these neighborhoods. So
be really devoted on what that is, so you write your notes. And then now you're looking for properties that are in the areas that they want, not necessarily the areas that they don't want. All right, so if you had named your top 5 non-negotiables, what would that be? Beyond your top 5 needs, what is something really something you really need? Do you have any preference for that for the year the house was built? Well, I'm looking for a very, cozy Spanish home, looking from the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, and there's a lot of cute houses
Yeah,
that were built in those eras that have arches.
yeah.
That
Old
have,
sort of style.
yeah, and they're out there, right?
Yeah.
Or someone says, I can care less, I just want a modern house. I just want a property that, doesn't have that many issues, And I'm looking more like a 5 to 10 year home, right? Now you're looking out in the high deserts, maybe Riverside, San Bernardino, where there's more new construction happening there as well,
Right.
okay? Do you have any preference? Okay, do you need a house in a moved-in condition, or are you willing to do some work, right? Maybe some of your clients are like, I'm ready to put on a hard hat and a hammer and knock some walls down, right? But then you have others, I need this house to be in ready moving condition. My husband and I have strenuous schedules. We just don't have time. We just want to be able to move into a beautiful home. And this is why you find homes that are beautiful, ready to move in. And then you have some really junkers, ugly houses, right? Again, understand your client's needs and wants. When people visit your home, what should it say about you, right? Are there any specific features that you would add to make your next home feel like a home, right? Maybe someone wants a chimney, right? They grew up with a home that had a chimney.
Yeah.
And, they now, as a young adult, have been renting an apartment with no chimney.
Yeah,
And part of their dream is, look, I can care less what the house looks like.
yeah.
I want something that has a chimney.
Fireplace.
Yeah, fireplace, because they like that coziness,
Uh-huh.
their upbringing when they were a child, right? Maybe Christmas, maybe Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
and the warmth of having a chimney, right?
yeah,
Or a fireplace. Will you require accessibility options, right? Maybe they have an elderly parent, right? Or a severe child, right? That they need certain amenities, right? So you want to write these down so that way you're on the same page, right? Maybe it's a bathroom or a shower where they can roll in a wheelchair, right? As an example, right? Or maybe the kitchens are a little shorter
Yeah.
where someone that is unable, right, to stand, they can use the amenities to wash dishes, right? Because I've seen homes that are catered to special circumstances, right?
Okay.
Again, these are some of the things that you should also be looking at. Again, templates and neighborhoods, you can do all this through command. I'm buying a home works. Home loans made simple. Okay, so just a quick disclaimer, pursuant to RESPA, Keller Williams agent and associates must provide an ABA disclosure to the consumer at or before any referral is made to a Keller Williams mortgage. More information on the RESPAs and the ABA. So that's basically that we have some type of affiliation, like escrow affiliation, lender affiliations. It's just a disclaimer to the consumer. Real value, real experience, my competitive advantages, 15 years total client service. Again, this is your little bio.
Yeah.
With everything, we all should be able to create a very small bio, right? You can use like AI as an example.
Right,
Hey,
yeah.
I want to create a one pager or a one paragraph, a little bit of a bio, right? And it'll create a sample of it. And then you just kind of add your flavor to it. As an example. You can also say how many years, if any, right? How many transactions, total clients served, right? Clients that are referrals.
0, 0, 0.
Can you take out that page?
Well, and you can emphasize, instead of saying that, it says my office.
Sit my office says,
My office has done, 54 last month. My office has done, you know,
Yeah.
X amount of, so
Uh,
use the technology and
Yeah.
leverage yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Well, how many deals have you done, right? Well, I just started in the industry about 6 months ago. I'm still trying to get my feet wet. And it's fine to say that. Don't
Yeah.
feel
I said
that,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't feel that you need to know all the stuff, right?
Yeah,
I'll be the first. I don't know everything.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's okay to say, that's a great question.
yeah,
I don't have the answer, but what I
Okay, yeah.
do, I have the resources and I will do my very best to find out.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, just kind of looking at the bigger picture, the importance of saying it's okay, you know? There's a lot of people that don't do, you know, 50 deals a month or 100 deals a month, right? It's just an essence of your ability to really navigate that as well. Make sense?
yeah.
All right, so conducting the buyer consultation now. All right, preparing for the buyer consultation. I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they buy a home, right? Imagine if you had this constantly as a reminder, either somewhere that comes up every single time, right? I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They would appreciate my expertise and preparation in choosing me to be representing them as they're buying a home, right? Think about bold, right?
Yeah, it's like
Kind
mine.
of, yeah, like my determined soul, right?
Yeah.
It's the same component, right? It's a mindset at the end of the day, folks, okay? And what I want you to understand is I want you to be excited. Okay, because embedded commands will take you places, right? If you motivate yourself and have it. Part of what I used to do a lot was in team meetings, I used to have like a chant. And that's how I would start my chant is like, okay, we are, you know, and I don't remember the chant, but I was like diligent. This was like prior to COVID here in the office, and I would have everyone stand up, okay, loosen up. All right, and repeat after me. I am a strong real estate agent. I'm a listing machine, right? And then I would have them, and then we would go through the embedded commands, right? And that would ultimately get the blood flow and the excitement. And at the end, everyone would give themselves a high five, right? Again, whatever it takes to motivate, whatever it takes to get you encouraged. All right, so welcome to the with a buyer. So I definitely want to role play here with you guys, okay? And just to give you kind of an avenue. So love letters, liability letters, okay? So love letters are now okay to have as long as the seller in writing allows it, right? There's a paragraph on the RLA that says, does the seller acknowledge and wants these type of letters? And what are love letters, okay? They're not technically love letters, okay? But it's more of an introduction of the buyer.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, we're the Smiths, and we fell in love with your house the minute we walked in. Everything about the home just resonated with us. We're a young family with 2 children and a pet, and we can see ourselves living in this home. And you sent that with the offer, right? Now, based on the equal housing opportunity, there was a sector in a year that love letters were not able to be part of that because you're influencing the seller based on this. I don't think it's an influence, but in the eyes of the equal housing opportunity, they felt like you're influencing. Okay, so they eliminated love letters. Well, guess what? About a year ago, they allow love letters again. So now it's optional. The seller has the option to say, yeah, I don't care if there's letters, have them bring the letters.
Also, they're not like.
Yeah.
You
Can they
put
do
it-
a photo too, or no photo?
Yeah. So no, I take that back. So letters only, no photos, yeah.
Because they don't want you to see.
Yeah, the different type of race and all that stuff, and it's like that may steer someone from doing so and forth. But I'm selling my house, you give me top dollars,
Yeah.
I can sell it to the cat.
Right.
Give me the money, right? Show me the money, right? But in essence, that's kind of
It's
the,
tugging at your heartstrings. What
That's right.
Yeah,
yeah. So all on the same page on this?
yeah.
Okay. Getting to the sign the buyer agreement, right? So in essence, that's ultimately the goal, right? The
Yeah.
goal is to get these signed agreements, right? Because now it gives you from being unemployed to employed. Okay, when you get a contract signed, guess what? You're employed, you're going to work.
Yeah.
You don't have a signed agreement, you're unemployed. But the bad thing is you can't even collect unemployment. Unemployment. All right, so how do we get more employed, right?
Yeah.
How do we do more work, right? Well, again, as I said earlier, is you gotta do the activities, right? You gotta go out there and do the work. Guess what? Real estate is a job. It's a job, folks, okay? It's not for the heart for a lot of people, right? Some people are not comfortable working, but people are talking to people. Then unfortunately, this may not be the right position or career for you. You have to have that personality because it's all about the connections, right? Training to get the feedback, give us, okay, so it's basically, we're gonna skip this.
You said we were gonna roll play?
Yeah, we're gonna role play. I think that's it. All right, so what I'd like to do in, just so we can spend maybe a little bit of 10 minutes or so, it's kind of role play, guys. And I am a true believer that role play is definitely a good exercise, right? What I mean by a good exercise is because this is where you're gonna do the blunt work and the parameters of, true life situations, okay? So can I get someone up here to volunteer?
I
To do what? The volunteer to do what?
I won't say it till you come up here. All right, Javier, come up here. Let's give Javier a round of applause. All right, Javier, so do you want to be the agent or do you want to be the buyer?
I'll be the buyer.
You want to be the buyer, okay.
Am I in the way?
You can just go in and angle it there,
Yeah.
yeah. Or you can even go here as well, not a big deal. All right, so I'm the agent and Javier is a buyer, right? I'm hosting an open house. And my goal is obviously, right, is to see if he's a motivated buyer
Yeah.
enough that he wants to buy. So awesome. Hey, how you doing? I'm Simon.
Hi, nice to meet you, Javier.
Javier, a pleasure to meet you. So what brings you to the open house?
I'm interested in possibly owning a home, just looking around.
Awesome. Do you live here in the neighborhood?
Close by,
Close by. Okay, so meaning walking distance or driving distance?
driving distance,
Okay.
10-15 minutes away.
Awesome. Are you looking in this neighborhood to move in?
I'm interested in this neighborhood.
Awesome, beautiful. Well, let me give you a little information about the property. The house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet on a 6,000 lot size. The home was built in 1965, but the owners have completely renovated the house. Here's some information. It's priced to sell. So are you working with an agent right now?
At the moment, no,
Okay.
it's on YouTube, still looking around, get an idea.
Yeah, no problem. Have you got pre-qualified already for a loan?
No, not yet.
Yeah, awesome. Well, part of now the responsibility with all these changes with Nora, I need you to sign this information sheet. So if I can just have your name, your number and an email.
Do I have to?
You don't have to, but it's part of my requirements that I've at least let you know and acknowledge of all of the changes that I represent more the seller, not necessarily the buyer. If you choose not to sign, then I'm very limited of what I can tell you regarding the property.
Oh, I see. Okay, where do I send?
Right here, this sheet right here, boom, boom, boom. All right, well, take a look, Javier. If you have any questions after, let me know. Okay, so he goes and looks at the home and then I come back. Hey, Javier, so what you think?
All the finishing touches. Does it come with the refrigerator?
I don't think it comes with a refrigerator, but it could be something that if you're interested in submitting an offer, we can definitely ask the seller as to include it as part of the deal.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So any other questions you have?
So the HOA fees on this, like.
Guess what? There is no HOE,
Oh,
HOA fees. So it's a house. You're not gonna have any HOA. So
Something. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you for your time.
No problem. I appreciate you coming in. So before you go, are you the one buying or do you have someone else that's gonna be buying with you?
My wife and I.
Okay, so both you and your wife are
We're trying to grow our family, so.
fantastic. Well, you said earlier that you haven't got pre-qualified yet for a loan, correct?
Right.
So what if I do this? If we set a time that works for you on a schedule, either tomorrow or the following day, that we can kind of sit down and I can explore some options here. I work with a phenomenal lender too that can get you pre-qualified. How soon are you guys looking to buy?
It's still an idea along in the future. We don't know exactly yet, but I mean, I have your information, so I'll just call you.
Okay, so it's not something in the next 90 days that you're looking to buy?
Probably not. We don't know yet.
Okay, awesome. Are you looking maybe to rent something or are you looking to buy?
Yeah, we're looking to buy, but yeah, right now we just don't have clarity of everything, so we're just trying to get everything together and then we'll make a full decision on it.
Awesome. Well, you have my business card. Would it be okay if I follow up with you maybe in a couple of months, just check in with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Beautiful. All right, Javier, well, it's very nice to meet you. I appreciate your time, man. If you have any questions, please reach out. This house is still available, so if you're interested, I can get you my guide to get you pre-qualified. It only takes a couple, maybe 15 to 20 minutes of your time. They'll run your credit and check your financials and then pair you with a offer of pre-approval and see if this will fit the criteria.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for
All
your
right.
time.
Thank you. All right, let's give Javier a round. All right, so I kept it very simple, right? Again, he's not looking to buy right now, right? But I gave him something, right? I gave him my business card. He did take my flyer. And I kept it very professional and neutral. I wasn't too abrasive.
No.
I didn't go too crazy, but I ultimately wanted to do right. And the mindset is always ask for the order, right? Ask for the order, right? And I kept asking other questions and kept saying, well, not right now. I said, okay, but if you, okay, at the end, would it be okay if I follow up with you? In the next 30 days, in the next couple of weeks, right? That's your decision. I have this information here. You can also say, if you have your sheet as an example, right?
Yeah.
And you can say, okay, Javier Ramirez, right? Your phone number is and this is your email?
Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you on my database, okay? As part of you'll get regular emails, maybe there's a house or an area that you might like. And this is why I put my clients in a database.
And then you can send them an email for it, yeah.
That's right. And now you do a follow-up, right? A follow-up regarding, your position, right? Of navigating the conversation, right? And that conversation is, maybe he's not ready to buy now, but he may be ready to buy in the near future.
Yeah.
So question with those, like how often would you reach out to them? Because I have a couple of people like that, but like not right now, but like every.
I would put them in your database and let the database do the touches, okay? That's why you have command and that's why you have smart plans, and this is why you have, the ability to have those touches where they're sending automatic emails or text messages on your behalf without you ever even doing that.
Okay.
And it's just touches, right? You're just getting, hey, just wanted to check in, how's everything with you? There's different things that you can actually utilize for that benefit. Okay. All right, let's do one more role play. Okay, who else wants to come up here and role play with me?
Sorry, I just gave you the objection that I was trying to, get off of you.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. All right, Mimi, let's give Mimi a round of applause. Yes, Mimi. Okay, Mimi, do you want to be the agent or you want to be the buyer?
The buyer.
Okay. All right, so let's say, and I'm gonna go through the same motions again, I'm hosting an open house, right? So here we go. Hi, I'm Simon.
I'm Mimi.
Mimi, pleasure to meet you. So what brings you into the open house?
I just got married and so.
Congratulations, I love that.
Me and my husband are looking for a house.
Okay.
Just looking around the area.
Got it. Have you guys been looking for a while?
No, just started.
You just started. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Have you guys got pre-approved for a loan yet?
No. we
Not
haven't.
yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't even know exactly where we stand, so.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Is this an area that you're looking to move in or you're just kind of checking out different neighborhoods?
Just checking out different neighborhoods, yeah.
Okay.
Because we want to maybe have a baby in a year or so, so we're just like looking at neighborhoods, you
Oh, I
know. so
love
yeah,
that. That's awesome. Where's your husband?
He is at work right now.
Okay,
Yeah, so-
all right. When is his days off?
He is off on the weekends, actually,
Oh.
yeah, so that's why we're like, he's not, well, this might, the weekend, but he's got something else to do right now, so.
Got it,
But he's
got it.
off on the weekends, so yeah.
Awesome, okay. Well, I'd love to meet your husband, for sure. So let me give you a little information on the property. The home is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet on a 5,800 square lot. It's priced to sell at $1,075,000. We've already got a lot of activity on it, so if this is something that may hit your bells and whistles, then I would encourage you to maybe bring, I'll be hosting another open house tomorrow.
Okay.
And if your husband is interested, then, I can do a private showing as well, after the open house or before the open house. Just because I like your energy, I like, to help newly married couples into home ownership as well. So take a look, and if you have any questions, by all means, we can talk about it after, right?
Okay.
All right, so Mimi has looked at the property. So Mimi, what do you think of the home?
I really like it. I really love it has a really good vibe for it, and I love it. I think it might be a little bit out of our price range.
Okay.
I'm just a little concerned about what the payments would be on it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And that's important, right? Because obviously with home ownership, it's definitely can be increased, because not just the mortgage you're paying, but you're also paying insurance and property taxes as well. So what if we were to do this, and, I don't know how soon are you both looking to purchase.
Yeah,
But I have a phenomenal lender that can get you pre-qualified, and at least an idea
yeah,
of what you would qualify, based on, how much of a down payment you have, your income you have, your credit, and obviously any reserves to be able to purchase a home.
yeah.
We can set something up. I can either have my lender reach out to you, or we can set them a time, maybe tomorrow with your husband, and I can go through it, and maybe you can have the lender come in or charm in on a 3-way call with us as well.
That'd be good.
Would that be okay?
I'd like that, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, one things that I forgot to do was have you sign my registry.
Okay.
So if I could just have you sign in, boom, boom, boom. Okay, wonderful, thank you. So Mimi, I appreciate it. All right, so let me go ahead and set up, here's my business card. And if you have any questions from here till tomorrow, let me know. I would love the opportunity to help you.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mimi. All right.
I give you, so you doing?
All right. That was good. All right, so let's go, and again, I'm only trying to build rapport, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And I want her to feel comfortable as well with the conversation. Because again, I don't want her to be standoffish. I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to come across as a pushy individual, right? But I also want to get my point across, but I also want to earn her business.
Yeah.
Okay, because in the mindset, I'm thinking of Aptos.
Right,
I gotta continue asking for the order because I want her to work with me.
right.
I want to be able to lock in the opportunity because bless you.
Thank you.
Because what if, after we meet tomorrow and they qualify for $1.5 million?
Yeah, I thought.
That's a good day.
Yeah,
And that may just excite them enough that they may say, look, we didn't know we could qualify for that much and we're comfortable with our monthly payment.
right,
Let's go for it.
yeah,
Or maybe 1.5 is the maximum, but they only want to go up to $1 million. Guess what? The MLS can provide you with all different criteria, right? At the end of the
Simon,
day.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if you are hosting an open house and there's buyers who comes in, they're only presented buyers and they still don't want to sign the form that we provide. You said there's a limited information you can give them, right? What kind of information you cannot give them?
Yeah,
They
good
don't
point.
sign.
Okay, so let's role play on that. Javier, come up here again, bro. All right, so let's pretend that Javier doesn't want to sign my sheet, right?
okay.
The one that we need a compliance with now, right? And let me get the camera to work here because it went all wonky. All right, so let's do this. Okay. All right, so let's go through the motions. You're gonna be tough, right? You don't wanna sign anything, you just wanna look at the property, right? So this is how we're gonna role play. How you doing? I'm Simon.
Hi, nice to meet you, Javier.
Javier, pleasure to meet you. What brings you into the open house?
I saw the open house signs and I was just being curious, when I looked around.
Awesome. Do you live here in the neighborhood?
Yeah, I live 2 blocks away, so,
Okay.
trying to see what's, in the market.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Are you looking to buy a place, sell a place, or maybe looking for a family member?
Just being curious, honestly, just being nosy. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, there's a lot of neighbors that just are looky-loos that want to look, and that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. Listen, with all the new rules and regulations, part of the process in my company policy, I must have you sign my registry. So if I can have you sign, then I can give you some more information about the property.
Do I have to sign?
You don't have to sign it, but I would encourage you to, because then I'm in compliance of the rules and regulations.
Okay, I'm fine, I'll get them signed.
Okay, you know what? So I'm gonna be limited on what I can tell you. The only thing I can give you is just some information, and if you want any additional information, then I would have you sign this agreement.
Okay, well, can I get that information that you can?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the flyer.
Okay.
Okay, the flyer is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet on a 55 lot, built in 1965. It's been completely renovated. It's listed for $1,100,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, feel free to take a look, and again, I'm sorry that you feel that way. If you don't want to sign, you're under no obligation to do so, but I'm also very limited of what I can do, because at the end of the day, I'm literally working with the seller.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right, so what do you think?
It's a really nice house.
Yeah, it's a cute house.
Yeah.
The current owners put a lot of money in it, over $150,000 to renovate this place.
Yeah, I knew the owners and
Okay.
I saw the child's girl, so.
Amazing. Any other questions, or do you know of anyone that's thinking about buying here? This
Not
neighborhood?
really, but I'll keep it in mind. What information can't you give me?
Well, again, part of the new rules and regulations, Javier, anytime I'm talking about real estate, I have to have you sign an agreement that says that you acknowledge and have read all of the rules and regulations when it comes to representing a potential buyer. Not saying that you want to buy, but again, I cannot really go into so much into it, because then we would have to have a written agreement.
Got it. I understand.
Good deal?
Yeah.
All right, well, I appreciate you coming in, and if you have any other neighbors that you know, have them come in. I'm going to be here till about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and I'll be also hosting one tomorrow as well.
Okay. Thank you
Okay,
much for your time.
awesome, man. I
Have a good
appreciate
one.
you coming in. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, again, can I force?
No,
I can't force Javier, but I also cannot say, hey, you can't come and see the property. If you don't sign, you can't see. No.
No.
You still, remember, it's an open house,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
right,
Technically, your fiduciary duty is to the seller, right?
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you a perspective in how you're gonna navigate the conversation is, look, I get it, you don't wanna sign, got it, okay, but I'm limited on what I can say to you, unfortunately. If you have any additional questions, then we can talk about it, but again, I would have to have you sign this agreement,
yeah.
okay? Very simple, don't overthink it,
No.
guys, don't
Yeah.
overthink it, okay?
And once you explain it to people like that, then they understand. Then they,
So all you can tell them is what's basically on the sheet.
On the flyer.
Yeah, on the flyer,
Yeah.
like the one on that Miller's too, that you print out that has all the.
Yeah. Because this is public information, right? But
Right.
now they're asking schools.
oh, yeah.
Now they're asking for what amenities? If you don't have it on that flyer, then unfortunately, I'm limited on what I can say.
Yeah.
The only way that I can elaborate more is if we have some type of written agreement, and then we can talk. Not saying that you're obligated to work, but I need to have something in writing for me to be in compliance.
Okay, and that could weapon
That's right. All right, we'll leave it with this. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. Remember, again, it's just one of those embedded commands that, in looking, and I, what I used to do was I used to take photos of everything, and then I had a folder, and then these just motivational quotes.
Mhm.
And just to inspire me, right? Just to get me up and say, look, today's gonna be my day. I'm gonna make something happen, whatever that is,
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do. And that's the attitude and mentality. Okay, all right, so we're getting a little bit of role playing already. And celebrate success. So what did you think of today's class?
That's good,
Okay.
great. That's
All
great.
right, so the next one, and I believe it'll be next week, we'll be preparing for the next session, which is win with Salary. So it's kind of similar to the buyers. Now it's just transitioning into more of a listening, preparing for the CMA, handling objection handlers and all that fun stuff. But remember, at the end of the day, whoever you work with, buyers or sellers, it's still the same initial process, right? People will work with you when they feel comfortable and they trust your judgment and your ability to help them get what they want, right? And that's where you come in as contribution. Okay, with that being said, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for being here. People on Zoom, thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you. And we'll see you on the next Ignite class. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.
Yeah, really quick, the
Yeah.